Good evening, Dublin. It is a privilege to stand in this ancient place where the music carries the weight of history and the soul of the faithful. We're not far from Galilee, friends. The hills are different, but the questions in your hearts are the same.
Tonight we're telling the story of the quiet years, the time before the miracles began, the time when a man had to decide everything. Let me introduce my band. John on the fiddle, Matthew on the bass, the man who traded his fishing boat for a banjo, Peter. We start with a song about the quiet life I left behind. And this is the carpenter's tools, the dust of the workshop, it settled on me. I measured the timber of the old olive tree. My father's hands taught me the plane and the saw. A simple good life kept far from the law. The smell of the sawdust, the comfort of home. I knew every stone where a poor man would roam. But the cross on the hill, it was already framed. My destiny whispered, my true name was named. A carpenter's life, that's where the journey began. A simple man learning the fate of a man. I watch the seasons change, the rain and the sun, waiting for the moment my quiet time was done. I learned patience in silence, the lessons of wood, the silence before the world understood. I walked every morning down to the same well. The secrets I carried, no human could tell. Oh, there's a power in the quiet, a strength in the small. The price of the kingdom is giving your all. I knew every knot in the wood, every grain. But the grain of the faith held a different deep pain. But the cross on the hill, it was already framed. My destiny whispered, my true name was named. A carpenter's life, that's where the journey began. A simple man learning the fate of a man.
Thank you. That was The Quiet Life, but you know, when God calls, it's not a whisper, it's a fire. You have to move. This next one is for every soul who stood on the edge and jumped Matthew. I need that bass driving. This is the fire in my soul. From the Jordan River bend, my quiet days were coming to an end.
apart. A sudden violent drumming in my heart. The fear of man, it tried to hold me back, but the fire of the Father stayed right on track. Oh, the fire in my soul, the fire in my soul. It's breaking the chains, taking back control. It's the power of the Spirit, a raging desire. I left the past behind, chasing the fire. I left the wood, I left the home, to find the lost souls wherever they roam. My hands were rough from the hammer and nail, but now the simple work began to fail. I looked at the life that the world expected me to live, and chose the greater love I had to give. The earth was calling, sighing for the sun. The age of silence was finally done. I tell you, friends, when the Spirit strikes, it's true. You drop your tools and run towards the view. You don't need a map, you don't need a plan. Just follow the light of the Son of Man. Oh, the fire in my soul, the fire in my soul. It's breaking the chains, taking back control. It's the power of the Spirit, a raging desire. I left the past behind, chasing the fire. I left the wood, I left the home, to find the lost souls wherever they
That's how you answer a call. But a great work requires a great crew. I needed men who knew the meaning of long hours, rough water, and failure. I went down to the sea where the best men do their trade. This next one is for Peter, Andrew, James, and John. The toughest, hardest working men I ever met. Fisherman's Handshake. I found them mending nets down on the shore, their bodies weary, wanting something more. They smelled of salt and fish and honest toil, their weary hands covered in the muddy soil. I watched them working, their faces set and grim. Their hope was low, their earthly light was dim. A simple fisherman's handshake, that's all it took from me to call them from the chaos of the deep blue sea. I said, leave the cot, leave the lines and the bait, you'll fish for souls, you'll seal a new fate. Simon was rough, with a temper and pride, but a heart of pure granite, nothing to hide. Andrew was
quiet, the seeker of truth. John was the dreamer, the light of my youth. I told them the story, I showed them the way, and they left their nets lie in the heat of the day. They didn't ask for gold, they didn't ask for fame. They simply trusted the sound of my name. They traded the boat for the cross and the call, and gave me their courage. They gave me their all. A simple fisherman's handshake, that's all it took from me to call them from the chaos of the deep blue sea. I said, leave the cot, leave the lines and the bait, you'll fish for souls. You'll see a new face.
Thank you so much.
You know, when you decide to follow a crazy idea like leaving everything to follow me, you need a song that sticks with you, something you can sing when the road gets tough. This is the first song we sang after Matthew dropped his ledger and ran to join us, Peter. Get that banjo ready, let's make some noise! This is the ledger and the Lord!
In Capernaum, the coins were cold and fast. Matthias kept the books, the shadow of the past. He wrote the tallies, the weight of the Roman decree. He was a rich man bound, but his soul was not free. I walked by his table, just paused in the heat, and saw the empty place where his life wasn't sweet. I said, leave the column, the silver and the gold. There's a story of freedom waiting to be told. Oh, the ledger and the light, the old for the new. We left the dark shadows for the dawn and the dew. The world calls you fool, but we know the true cost. We found the true treasure that could never be lost. Hey! The scribes cursed his name, the Pharisees frowned, but the joy in his eyes was the loudest sound. He dropped the heavy ink, he kicked the dusty stool, he traded the counting house for the open air school. Now he sings a new song for the kingdom of grace. There's no better life, there's no better place. It doesn't matter your trade, your debt or your fame. He'll call you by nature, he'll call you by name. Just follow the music, just follow the call. Give up a little bit, you'll gain back it all. Oh, the ledger and the light, the old for the new. We left the dark
shadows for the dawn and the dew. The world calls you fool, but we know the true cost. We found the true treasure that could never be lost. Oh, the ledger and the light, the old for the new. We left the dark shadows for the dawn and the dew. The world calls you fool, but we know the true cost. We found the true treasure that could never be lost. Hey! Hey!
That's the joy of the road. But the road is not always easy. We saw sorrow in every village. And the hardest part of the early days was seeing the pain of the people. This next song is about those quiet moments, the ones that matter most. The times we rested after a long, hard day, just sitting and listening to the silent sorrow of the world. This is beneath the olive trees. We rested our heads beneath the old olive trees, the evening wind carrying the soft, sorrowful breeze. We saw the faces line, the worry and the fear, the silent prayer whispered when nobody was near. The poor man with nothing, the woman with shame, they only needed comfort, they only needed a name. Oh, the sorrow of the world, it weighs heavy and low, but the light of His love is the seed that will grow. We sat and we listened, we offered our hand, a silent promise whispered across the wide land. Friends, they grew weary, the long days took their toll, but compassion is the true rhythm of the soul. We shared the small fish, the bread and the wine, and found a deep comfort in the love that's divine. Knew every tear, every burden they bore, and my heart ached for healing, wanting so much more. Oh, the sorrow of the world, it weighs heavy and low, but the light of His love is the seed that will grow. We sat and we listened, we offered our hand, a silent promise whispered across the wide land. We close the set with a ballad, Friends You Know. No man can truly answer a call without the strength of his family. And my call was harder on one person than anyone else. My mother, she's here with us tonight. Would you please welcome the most beautiful voice in all of Ireland? my mother Maria,